Good morning, Emma. Good evening.
Morning.
Good evening, Paul, and good evening, Susan, and good morning, Josh. Welcome to International Fun Times, and Carol, who is the light of my life. Good morning, Carol. Are you well?
Morning. Yes, I'm just checking my speakers. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
I certainly can. We're so excited, and that top is making me feel so happy. So happy. You look gorgeous. Love the earring work. You've dressed for success today.
That's me today.
Fantastic. We're thrilled. And of course, our favourite person, Damien, is in the place. Damien. I want to be you, Damien. You know that to be true. Are you going well, Damien?
Going very well. Lots of editing at the moment.
We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Beautiful Jelly. Lovely to see you again, my darling one. And look, we need to make a fuss of Ruth. I had the great privilege about a week and a half ago being in Ruth's confirmation of candidature, and she's ignored me since I was there. She's blanked me. She's ghosted me, girlfriends. She's ghosted me. But it was one of the most truly remarkable things I've ever seen, Ruth. So congratulations, beautiful.
Thank you. And I wasn't ignoring you. I've just been away for a wedding. So
Oh, darling, congratulations. That's great. Beautiful. Breeze in.
thank you.
Dina, the light of our lives, is in. Jilly's in. And Fee Steele, who is my Brabazon Steele, my foil, my friend, my companion through life, that when I'm not with Jamie Quinton. Hello, Fee. Do you just want to say hi, Fee? You don't want to say hi, Fee? You just, no. Oh, fine. Yeah, I'm out. That's the nature of our relationship, really. Yeah, hi, fine, go away, Tara. Colleagues, let's do a fantastic job today. Let's follow Damien's example. If you're editing, edit. If you're writing, writing. Beautiful Dina's nearly reaching the end of her entire thesis. Come on. So let's do this. Come on. 29 minutes. Let's go hard. Let's change the world. Bring it. Let's bring it, team. See you in 29. Come on. Come on. Last minute, colleagues. Colleagues, we are done. Oh yeah. Now I'll go straight to Josh and then to Damien, because yeah, I created a fair amount of mischief there. I had a bit of a naughty 29 minutes there. So Josh, did you have a naughty 29 minutes as well, creating havoc and summoning the revolution once more, sir?
Yes. I'm working on a little naughty opinion piece with my other research half, the Kate to my Eunice. We're looking at the accounts of people that are deciding to throw in the towel on peer review. So they're going scholarly publishing, profit model. I'm just not going to peer review anymore, while at the same time still putting their articles out. So we're calling it peer review fatigue or peer review rebellion. And so all the literature at the moment is just talking about it being fatigue, but we're just putting out a little opinion piece on this is actually an active choice that people are making. And what are some alternatives they could make where Labour to other avenues that already challenge the profit model without stopping peer review, and then that's just going to inhibit early career researchers. Yeah. So yeah, it's a naughty piece.
Oh, that's making it. And I love the notion of rebellion too. I think that's a tremendous choice of word.
Yes, yeah. It's just we've seen it come up quite a bit all over Twitter, and we talk about it all year, and we just thought we should just write it up because we keep discussing it. You know, where we sit on it, and yeah, it's a really tricky issue.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, I'm thrilled. So, Josh, that's tremendous. I could see you were being naughty in that 29 minutes, as was I. And obviously I could see Damien was creating some havoc as well, which is why I wanted to start with you both this week. So, Damien, what havoc were you creating during those 29 minutes, comrade?
I mean, there was a bit of a slash and burn. I'm working on my piece that's charting trends in gender and sexually diverse representations in Australian television that I'm doing with another co-author. And we have to cut 2,500 words before we submit it. And we sort of had already done a big cut of the easy things, and now we have to do the hard things. So it's the setup around all the stuff that was happening for gender and sexually diverse people in Australia through the 2000s and 2010s, like same-sex marriage and the removal of the family court from trans children's medical decisions and all of that stuff, getting that cut basically in half, but still say all of that stuff.
Gee, that's hard. This is hard editing. And as I said to you last week, I think it was, Damien, or the week before, the challenge is I want that to almost be a whole piece in itself. So I'm just hoping that the undulation and the granularity of that argument is not lost, so that it appears somewhere else as well. Yeah,
it's really just taking something that I might have said over 5 sentences to explain what was happening and going, well, how do I explain this in maybe one? It still hit the mark. It's getting there. We're very close to submission. We're very excited.
And this is MIA, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Oh,
that's the plan.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to cite this, mate. Congratulations. I'm thrilled. All right. So the naughty people of the family have had their say so far. We need to go to Emma, who always is a woman of mystery, but all I'm seeing is this fantastic green disco light. So I don't know if Emma has joined us or she's increasingly a woman of mystery. Can I say hi, Emma? Are you with us?
I'm with you. Yes, I see that my picture looks different. That's weird.
Oh, look, it's A-class pharmaceutical land for me, Emma. So what were you writing on? What were you writing on during our Write Club, my darling?
A book chapter, and I'm also co-editor of the book. And so the chapters have been coming in from the other authors, and I realized some of what I was going to write has been written, and I don't want to do that. So I was rewriting and thinking others have gone very theoretical. I'm going to write a very personal chapter, which is kind of confronting. So I was writing it very personally. That's what I was doing.
Oh, that's amazing. And can I say, Emma, I'm so grateful that you've done that. One of my great critiques of edited collections is that they don't have that balance and that care, you know, and it's almost like you're reading a chapter and they're all different sort of arguments, whereas you've got a sense of let's make this combine and mean something as a whole.
I hope so. I'm also making notes as I was writing it for what we can do. We have to do the introduction that makes it look as if we meant it to be this way. So let's hope it all comes together.
Oh, good on you, Emma. And it's a blessing for those of us that read, because I believe in edited collections and I so often get disappointed by them, but not yours.
Let's hope.
You're fantastic. So, Paul, did Josh and I rile you up for that 29 minutes? What were you doing during Legendary, Paul?
I was doing what I seem to do a lot now, which is use this time to write stuff for work. And I was basically collating a load of teaching resources I got around within theatre and performance, how we can look to other disciplines like photography to understand semiotics within performance. So looking to photographers who use ambiguity and the uncanny and the trace, and how we can then use those signified and signs to better understand performance design. So that, and I had a load of materials that I had together, and I've taught different things, and I was pulling it all together to potentially bring out some sort of article around the use of photography as context to inform performance design.
Right. So I'm just writing this down. This is phenomenal. Paul, what I'm doing, the next couple of outriders I'm doing are on Sottle and Sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've just, and I'll give it to you because this is yours, you've created something that's what I would call a scaffolding Sottle there. So how different platforms and different interface management is able to create that iterative, edgy Sottle. That's new, Paul. That's yours.
Thanks. I love that.
Well, I think I've never seen that done before. So your scaffolding Sottle, that's a thing, mate.
Yeah. I mean, I guess within the arts, we always talk about being interdisciplinary and using other disciplines to inform our own process. And so I've always just done it as looking to other disciplines and what can we take from other disciplines and reflect on that and create new ways of thinking. And that's what brought this series of lectures around using that, and even using natural soundscapes within performance to build the idea of memory and all those kind of things that we spoke about before. But all these are kind of little ways to look at, within the world, we can use interdisciplinary things that exist to inform our process as an artist. And so within performance design, using the idea around photography of uncanny or ambiguous things, and what does that mean for when we place performers on it, but also what does that, it stemmed from a conversation with a student where actually they had a time limit to produce a piece of work to an audience, and how can they get some of the story across without talking? And that's when I said, well, use semiotics, use the environment you create to them to tell part of the story unconsciously. And that was what built this series of lectures around, well, let's look to photography and what does photography do ambiguously to tell the audience without explaining it. Almost the anti-crest of multimodality. I'm taking modes away and seeing what semiotics can do.
Huge. I'm a big believer, as you know, of silence, absence, and spaces. And that is where the meaning happens. And there's some rebellion there, Josh, but there's some anti-capitalism there. There's all sorts of resistances that we're never going to sort of claim as clear resistance, but there's mischief and challenge and difficulty that happens in those spaces, Paul.
Yeah. And what I want to do is, when I create this article, I don't want it to be a written article. I want to use the multimodal spaces that I can find to produce something that is multimodal in its output. I can't explain semiotics within photography to theatre by writing about it. It needs to be a visual and an audio experience. So I need to find articles, journals that will allow or talk within a multimedia space.
And Paul, I'll send you some of those. I certainly know of some sonic ones, some artifact exegetical ones, and some photography ones. I'll send you a list, see if they're useful, Paul. And can I say, what a gift is Paul to the world? It's the middle of the night in the United Kingdom, and he joins us just about every week and gives us this brilliance. So, Paul, I wouldn't trade you for quids. And speaking of magnificentness, right in the middle of the day is beautiful Carol. So, Carol, after our beautiful conversation yesterday, now, Carol, what were you writing on during Write Club, darling one?
So surprisingly, I've managed to get through my ethics, and yeah, I was very excited. It was a conditional on that I change my plain language statement and make one specifically for women and for service providers and for government and I just thought, no, I'm not doing that. But I will be doing one specifically with women. So I've been pruning it right down, joining Damien's club in trying to take 4 pages and turn them into 2. And I'm going out particularly to work with the service, my partnering organisation this afternoon, and workshopping the plain language statement with them. So
Right.
it's exciting.
I think that's absolutely amazing. And as I said to you yesterday, Carol, in this office, we might put one of our podcasts for CDU, you talking about that, because I think that's an incredibly valuable skill that you're doing there, and you unpicking that and explaining that to us is of great value, I think.
I'll take that challenge on.
Yeah, look, you will. You do what you have to do this afternoon, but you're a legend, Carol. And look, I saw Ruth nodding incredibly during that. So Ruth, who has ghosted me, even though I love her more than life. So Ruth, would you like to explain or not what you're writing on? You're very precious to me. What were you writing on during Write Club, beautiful Ruth?
I'm afraid I was doing something very dull, and that was I'm in the final stages of a paper, getting it ready for submission. And every time I think that I've sent the final draft, I get more comments back and more things to change. So, and invariably they contradict something that I put in to address the comment in the previous draft. So I'm just going through that this morning. So nothing terribly exciting, but necessary.
Ruth, I feel your pain. I do feel your pain. At a certain point, you go, I'm done, girlfriend. It's like, this is, what do I always say? Done is better than perfect.
Yes, I'm very much in that frame of mind at the moment, but I don't know if everybody else on the paper is.
And what do you do? How do you handle the contradiction, by the way, Ruth? Because remember, I mainly write on my own with my mate Josh, or with my mate Jamie, but I write with very few. How do you manage that when, like, 2 people who are co-authors say completely different things? What do you do, Ruth?
Well, I'm going to fix what I can and then take the more complicated bits and discuss with my primary supervisor before responding.
Ooh, you're amazing, Ruth. You're an absolute. And can I say, having seen her Confirmation of Candidature, she's a wonderful speaker too. You're wonderful,
Oh,
Ruth.
stop.
Oh, stop. I saw the whole thing. Remember, I cancelled a meeting with the Vice Chancellor to be there. Hashtag no pressure. And it was worth it, Ruth. It was worth it.
Thank you.
You're the best. And speaking of the best, should we go to late night New York City and the amazing Susan every week? Look, I'm getting all weird. Just even saying your name freaks me out now, Susan. So what were you working on?
Nothing freakish. I was transcribing a document from the 19th century from a slave master, a slaveholder who is vouching for his former slave. Her son died during the Civil War, and she's trying to get her benefits because of it. And it's really interesting because, as I reading, I found myself smiling because he said, "Oh, these guys." Well, he didn't say guys. These men came. They claimed to be soldiers, and they kidnapped the son and took him away. And the next thing he heard, the son had enlisted in the U.S. colored troops, and so on and so forth. Anyway, the son died about a year later. And but the interesting thing about it was that he said that took the son, when they took the son away, they took him from his care and protection. Wow. And I'm thinking, this is a slave master. What does he know about care and protection?
Wow.
That's what I initially thought. But then on the other hand, this slave family has been in his family for 3 generations at least. So he probably does care about them. He probably did want to protect them from something. Anyway, it's all very interesting. There are 4 pages of his affidavit, and I made it in our 30 minutes. I made it finish the first page. So I'm going to continue when we get off.
That is absolutely unbelievable. Is anyone else? You saw people. I mean, I was looking at Carol. I'm looking straight at Carol when you were speaking, Susan. And this is powerful work. This is important work. And as you've captured there, Susan, the ambiguity of that matters. Understanding the spaces, getting beyond the repulsion of the slave owner, and understanding that mindset moves us forward in a different way. And as you've said, those 2 and 3 words are crucial.
Yeah, care and protection. But slavery is not that.
No.
But these could very well be his relatives. I mean, biological relatives also.
Absolutely.
He inherited, them when his parents died. So, I do know that, in during this research, that there are many people who owned slaves did not believe in slavery. But because of the way the laws were, they were not able to set their slaves free. So they had to keep them as slaves, even though they didn't believe in it, and So it's very interesting to read this.
I think it's unbelievable. Does anybody else feel privileged to be on the planet with somebody like Susan doing this work? I feel a bit happier in the universe that this human exists. So Susan, thank you, my darling, and good luck for the next hour and a bit when you're finishing those final 4 pages. That's amazing. Thank you, Susan. You're a legend. And look, I'll go to Jess, #no pressure, Jess. So Jess, tell us about your 29 minutes, darling one.
Oh, well, you want to know about rebellion?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I just rebelled that whole 29 minutes. I did nothing. Because I've worked so hard to get over that research proposal and candidature confirmation, all of this, that was all confirmed 2 days ago. It was all done, dusted. So I sat down to start the real work and went, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. Where do I start? Do I start doing ethics? Do I start looking at literature review terms? Do I start looking at yeah, so that's what I did that whole time.
Right.
And
So I'm going to give you homework for today. You owe me half an hour.
Okay.
So you're going to give me that half an hour today, Jess. And
I will.
Jess, I understand what's happened. So what's happened is it was so traumatic for you, you're actually still recovering from it. That's what's occurred, okay? So that's what you're doing is completely understandable, logical, right? So Jess, I need you to answer this question for me, why your research matters now. I want 30 minutes on why your research matters now.
Okay.
And when you've given me that 30 minutes, send me an email because I'm a cow.
I'll do that.
I know you will. And just the why matters, because what you're lacking now is you've got lost and you've lost your motivation in that research. Let's reinvest the motivation in the research, all right?
Okay. Will do.
You got a deal. I'm proud of you. Well done, you. You're doing great, darling. Let's go to Queen Jelly. How are you, my darling? It's lovely to see you, your fabulousness.
Thank you. So I was looking at why we listen and comparing oral culture, where everything to do with life has to be either experienced or heard from someone else, and how we engage on digital media, and how we've pushed back on some of what we were receiving as learning because of the frameworks with which they were being produced. And so it's building that understanding. And in some cases, so when we do a Google search, we are getting information, but for the solid knowledge, it's the tip of the iceberg. Whereas for others, it might just be a little piece of floating ice on the top, and it's knowing which is which. So yeah, big space to investigate.
You saw Paul and I leaning forward, leaning back, leaning forward, leaning back.
Yes.
We live there. In the old days, we used to describe this as auditory culture, mate. And the soundscape, the delicate textures of sound is what basically Paul and I do for a living. So what you've captured there is brilliant. And of course, that's about information literacy, what I call digital dieting all those years ago, where I argued we need to take stuff away from the digital landscape. And actually, when we remove stuff, our capacity to be information literate increases and enhances. So when we take the screens and the visuality away, our life and our reality enlivens.
Yes.
But you're doing a much better job on that than I did. So we can't wait to read that. Where's that going, mate? Where's that going?
So that's my listening chapter in my thesis.
We're there. We're there with you. We're there with you. Keep going.
Thank you.
Oh, that's exciting. And Bree, darling one, I know it's busy time for you. I know it's about to be lunchtime for you and your wonderful kids. How are you going, Bree, darling? What did you write on sweetness?
All right. Well, yes, Pippa's almost pushing me out of the chair as usual with this 10 minutes to go. And I realized that this is not a very productive time for me to be doing academic writing. So I thought, how do I use this time? And I, at the beginning of the year, started doing a thing called zining. And so I've been making some zines, and Pippa's making one with me right now.
I love zines. What are the zines?
I just did one randomly at a library, and I've fallen in love with the concept of zine.
They are magnificent, but so it's just the kind of, are they on something? Is it a fandom?
Well, I'll show you one that might be of interest to you, Tara. In our digital office, you said you are mad. So this is one I prepared earlier.
Oh.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I ran out of photocopies of it. So this is the original. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it says, did you know? Blank. So crazy and intelligence are only one thought away.
That is fantastic. Yeah. Oh, well, I think that was a great use of time. And of course, can I just say, I'm doing work with a colleague that this week looking at MAD studies. And
what's that? MAD studies?
MAD studies. It's a wonderful field. It's a wonderful area. Very exciting. And so I'm a big supporter, and zines could be a very strong part of that, Bree. So you rock. I never knew you like zines. That's brilliant.
Well, I like many things. So the creative process is great.
We're a big fan. Good on you, Bree. You're a superstar. Can't manage without you. And we've got two wonderful humans to go. We need to talk to the legendary Gay, who's already changed our life this morning. So, Gay, what were you writing on, my darling one?
I started writing up the blurb for one of my soldiers.
Nice.
And then discovered that he didn't have one nephew and one step-nephew who also enlisted. He had another nephew. So then I had to go down that rabbit hole to find out what the other nephew was doing. And I was thinking, how did I miss him before? Anyway, I've found him now. So I'm trying to write up. This is all to do with the reasons for enlisting in World War II when there was no conscription. Yes. Why did they enlist? I think a lot of it in this rural area was peer pressure and family pressure, because a lot of them, their fathers were in the First World War.
Yes.
And sometimes their older brother was in the First World War. So there's definitely a connection. So I found a new connection this morning.
That's brilliant, Gay. Look, I'm fascinated by this. And we've talked a lot about masculinity actually in digital office hours today, and how masculine socialization occurs inside and outside of patriarchy and, you know, heterosexuality and all the rest of it. And so Gay's work is really, I think, capturing part of that, because masculinity in war has a very problematic relationship. So by you unpicking that, Gay, I think you're helping us work through the complicated nature of masculinity now. So good on you, Gay.
Interestingly, one of my people had a sister, I think it was, who also joined up in this quite military family.
That is fantastic. Oh, it's amazing. You keep going with this, Gaby. Want to hear what happens here? You're a legend. And of course, I've already had an email from Dina this morning. Now, Dina, our finisher. Oh, you're nearly there, Dina. Talk to us, Dina. What were you working on during Right Club? Come on, girlfriend.
So, as I mentioned to you, I integrated all the chapters that I have in one full thesis draft. That was the first time, and I think I don't know. I feel like my brain is about to explode. I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy. Like the difference between creative and intelligence is only one. Because I'm fascinated with the storytelling, making sense of the meaning, and I wanted to make that as a central theme of the discussion chapters by making a thread between the ontology, the ontology, epistemology, and methodology. So what I did in the discussion chapter is I tested my draft theory against another process of inquiry in the pragmatism paradigm, which it matches very well. But seeing it integrated, I'm wondering, is it like duplicating what I have done before? Because the grounded theory is already deriving from the pragmatist view.
Yes.
Now what I'm doing is just matching it with another another person that is that also have the same theory, and it does match well. So I think it's one of a triangulation method, but I was wondering whether it matches in the whole storyline. So I don't know. I was reading it through from chapter 1 until this chapter, and I don't know how I feel, but yeah.
Well, darling,
I'm still thinking.
I was going to say, you're doing brilliantly, darling one. Don't think, knowledge is not smooth. Knowledge is not smooth. It's got edges, it's got textures, it's got undulations. So, Dina, we love the notion, particularly from grounded theory, that this is how the story operates, right? We love that. And actually storying rather than storytelling, storying captures the dissonance, the confusion, the rub, the problems, the bits that don't fit together. And that's the nature of knowledge, Dina. So if it doesn't fit, your old supervisor always says, put the problem into the work. So if something is jarring, show me the jar, show me the error, show me the rub. And the rub is where the knowledge is.
The problem is it actually matches, but I don't know whether it's like duplicating the process, because in grounded theory itself, I use the paradigm principle, but then in the discussion chapter, because I wanted to make it a whole thread of storying, so I tested against another theory. So I don't know whether I'm testing it twice or I'm just still thinking through.
I think you are triangulating. So the nature of triangulation is you run it through, and if you run it through, the old argument about saturation is you see it 3 times, it's a thing. You see it once, it's a data point. You see it 3 times, it's saturation. The only variable for you to consider, Dina, with your beautiful match, and that's magnificent. I mean, woo, 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 people dream of the perfect match, but just ask yourself, you as a researcher, have you constructed that perfect match? And in the creation of the match, is there part of the story that's outside of the thesis?
Okay.
Oh, I've lost her. So Dina, if you've got a perfect match, that's brilliant. Always ask why the match occurred, and is there something that you could have been looking for that may be distant that you didn't capture?
Oh, okay, right.
And you may
because I read it somewhere. Yeah, I read it somewhere that if it does match, you need to look around a factor that probably you didn't consider. So I'll try. I'm just getting through because this is the first time I'm reading it in one go. So that is where I'm just picking up whether it fits or not, whether probably because I'm just doing it today to look through all of it comprehensively. So that's why I feel I haven't tuned in all the chapters together. Probably.
What you're doing is, everyone, she's doing brilliantly. This is exactly how you're meant to be feeling. This is perfect, Dina. Not a worry at all. Look at Gay. It's perfect. And darling, all the fears and the concerns and the worry that you're expressing now, and it is recorded, remember, this is what goes in your conclusion. Your conclusion captures, it's the grit in the oyster that creates the pearl, and that creates the best conclusion. Okay? Brilliant. Colleagues, what a magical morning this has been. Josh, I thank you for everything. You are legendary. Paul, good evening, brother. Sleep well. Legendary Susan, that wonderful hour you're going to give us is going to change and transform knowledge once more. Jess, you owe me half an hour. I love yous all. Have a lovely rest of the day. See you soon. Carol, you're the best. Good luck, the Savo Angel. Blessings. See you, team. You're very precious. Bye-bye.